Hello, welcome to my new YouTube chess channel. My name's Jeff Lawton, International Master. So I thought I'd just start by covering a game from the 2019 FIDE Grand Swiss. This game was played yesterday on the third board. Two players, David Anton and Alexander Grischuk, were half behind the co-leaders, Caruana and Aronian, are part of the chasing pack. So Anton played c4, e5, g3, knight f6, bishop g2, bishop c5. This is a sort of trendy way to play, to develop the bishop to c5 rather than b4. And now, ambitious move and also unusual c6, intending d5, controlling the center. So David played knight f3, knight h4, d5, takes. Now he's threatened with g5, trapping the knight. The escape squares are all covered. So d3 covers it. Knight g4, which is attacking this twice. So castles. And now g5, attacking the knight. It's actually all been played before, where white gave a piece up here, and I think it ended in a draw. However, David's coach had prepared this d4 move for him the night before, prepared it for hours on end on the computer, and it's possible that Grischuk was on his own here, and he played, i.e. he hadn't sort of prepared this all in such detail on the computer. So bishop e7 and now h3. So again, there's the question of what do you do? Do you take immediately or do you move the knight? And in the game, he chose to play knight f2, Grischuk. According to Anton, the best move was to play like this, hg3, when he intended f3. So there's no, the pieces are level in this game, in this position rather, in this line, and white, according to Anton, this position is basically a complete mess. I mean, another move that Grischuk must have been considering, I would imagine, would be knight back. He may have felt it was too slow and it looks wrong, but the idea is to go knight g8 and then take this. You're not threatening this at the moment because of bishop takes knight, but you can move your knight first and then this is still trapped. But white probably will just carry on like this, knight g8 and then take with a queen. And if takes, it turns out again there's enough for the piece here. For example, if you play this, there's queen e5. Black's king's rather caught in the centre. I mean, he's still got a piece for a pawn, but he's got immediate tactical issues to solve. I mean, the immediate one is that this is en prise. So if we covered it with knight f6, it runs into knight d5, which is very strong for white. For example, you can't go here because of takes. Bishop h6 is mate. There basically isn't a good move here for black. You can try this, but then you run into here. Again, you can't go king f8. You can't go that way because of mate in 2. The king can't get out. And if you play king d7, then queen b5, and it's just a winning attack. For example, takes, runs into checkmate very quickly. Well, you should give your queen up, but you're still going to lose the queen and the pawn and the rook. It's hopeless. And if you play the sort of sensible move material-wise, queen b7 is checkmate. So after this line with queen e5, f6 is possible, the only other way to actually prevent losing the rook. But then queen h5, again there's two king moves. This is very similar to the game. Black's took his piece, but after something like this, it's just really a ferocious attack for white. Probably completely winning. Very hard for black to develop, and you know, probably end up either losing, being mated, or losing lots of material. And if you try and play what looks like a safer square to f8, unfortunately this time runs into bishop d5, hitting f7. Only move to stop it, apart from giving the queen up. And then, if nothing else, you can unnecessarily give the queen away, and it's checkmate. So, Grischuk probably, noticed this wasn't that good, but he didn't play the move that Anton was perhaps most afraid of, gh4. We actually played knight f2, rook f2, gh4, and now g4 doesn't really do a great deal. Okay, it's a sort of safe move, but it lets black stay safe as well. And now, if you sort of try and attack anything, we can just play queen d7, followed by developing the knight to here, and black's fine. He sort of safeguarded his centre. You can't play f3 attacking it anymore, and black is, doing more than okay. And he does have a sort of an extra pawn with this awkward thing here on h4. So black didn't do that, but Grischuk actually played. Just check this. I want to do rook f2, gh4, played queen b3, and now he actually played hg3, which is the move that they both agreed after the game was a mistake. And now, to me, probably the best move in the game. It's prepared on a computer, but somehow it's something to me very astonishing that this is a good move. I mean, why play the rook to f4? It blocks the bishop, and there's no. Looks like a rook lift, but you can't go. These squares are all protected. So it's like, what on earth's the point of it? And like I say, you've hindered your own bishop. So, however, the key reason is that if we'd gone back a move in this position, David said the key line was bishop e6, queen b7, and now black gives up the queen, the rook, but then he intends to play knight c6, and the queen actually can't get away. There's no convenient way to save the queen. And then white would play here, knight e4, trying to get the queen out. If d4, queen e4 saves the queen. So black goes here. The queen still can't get away, so white makes the most of it. Knight c5. Black must take. And now we give up the queen for two rooks. And you reach this position, which, okay, it's complicated, but still favours white according to the a quick check I did on the computer. It's about +1 for white. There is one crazy line that goes like this, or very nice line rather. Now if knight d4, rook g3, king h8, just an idea of sort of wild tactics. And now the incredible move here, rook f1, which looks ridiculous. That's on pre, and also knight e2 forks that. But both moves lose. If we take here, check, bishop here, you're mated straight away. And if you play knight e2, that runs into king h2. Again, you can't take it because of rook f8. Knight takes rook, and then white's just got an exchange and lots of pawns, totally winning. But even so, I mean, black doesn't have to be so cooperative as to play, this line. So, but that is, according to David, that was the critical line. I'll just go back, and now after here. So as I was saying, the point is, well, what's the difference? But the difference is this time that if black now tries to play here, we see why the rook's powerful on f4. So we take here, queen takes rook, castles. Now, although we don't have bishop h6, the difference is that white has this move, making use of the rook on g4. and this seems to save the queen. If you play bishop takes rook, the queen escapes, and this turns out to be okay for white, or good for white actually. And if king here, again bishop here, turns out to be good for white. You can't quite trap the queen here because of this. Discovered check, bishop takes rook, and then take that, and the queen comes away. You can't save both the bishop and take this for black at the same time. For example, if you play that, queen a7, and then I don't know, rook f1 or something, I think the computer gets, and white's a safe piece ahead, even though the queen's a long way from the king, its own king. It's pretty well defended by the other pieces, and black can't quite get there in time. So bishop e6 is no longer possible, and in the game Grischuk played knight c6, queen d5. This was also a really interesting moment because it was here that Anton fought for an hour over queen d5, trying to recall the lines, because he knew that it was good for white, but he perhaps wasn't expecting Grischuk to play hg3. So Grischuk played f5, and again this sort of slightly reveals the point of the rook on f4, because now if you take here, which is what Alexander did, check, king here, and now we're threatening rook e4 in a lot of lines. But it turns out that this is now very good for white. After bishop e3, simply developing, it sort of looks like black might be okay. You know, he's got two bishops, but of course the king's wide open. And it's possible that you know, maybe Grischuk should have, in this position, traded into the endgame. To me, anyway, this seems to be his last chance to stay in the game. And then after takes, maybe just to play here. It's still not great, but at least you can fight on. But in the game, after this, and now David Anton's here, you know, he may have been still recalling his preparation, but now black is in big trouble. If you try run away with king c7, for example, white can play here. Now the intention is to play knight b5, but there's not a whole lot black can do about it. For example, bishop d6, knight b5. Now if you play king b8, it's no use, because here this time the king's caught on the queen is pinned on this diagonal. And if instead you run away, there's probably many ways for white to win, but one of them is d5, discovered check, takes again, discovered check from the queen, take, and now rook c1 is completely winning. Only real move, king d7 runs into checkmate. So the lines aren't that difficult, surprisingly easy actually, but it slightly surprised me that without the white squared bishop, that maybe I've just got a ridiculous obsession about bishop pair, but black can't do much, it seems. So Grischuk played queen g8, and now d5, knight d8, and it's really all over now. This black just can't untangle and can't develop. Played queen here, queen e5, now knight f7. If you make a move like this, I think that rook c1 just continues the attack, and sort of pretty hopeless really if you do something like that. Then there's always, I think it's actually knight f6, yes, and then if king d8, queen e8 mate. So very, very difficult for black. In fact, it's lost. Played knight f7, rook f7, queen f7, and now rook here. This is decisive, rook f8. bishop g5, and black resigned. For example, rook c7 is coming, which you can't really stop. And if you, for example, if you play here, how do we finish this off? Right, the quickest way seems to be queen here, king e8, and then knight d6 mate. So fantastic bit of preparation in which he managed to put a very strong player on the back foot by playing a line that he didn't really know. It's probably only good for one game because now everybody knows it. But even so, it's a very effective way and a very good demonstration of the use of computers. So now Anton joins the lead on fantastic score of 6 out of 8, along with Caruana and Aronian, who drew their game. And I hope you enjoyed the game. Bye now.